Hello, this is Josh Hunter. I was not intending to, make a video at this time, but I feel slightly compelled to do so. Not because everything I do has to be, natural. Natural to me anyway. It may seem artificial to you, but to me, it's gotta be natural. And tonight is Christmas Eve. There's probably about 30 minutes left in the Christmas Eve before it becomes Christmas officially. And there's just a lot of things that happen, and I gotta say a couple of things. I'm gonna try and put in some more jutsu. Now, like I mentioned before, I spent the last year um, gathering and crafting my own jutsu, and some of them worked, not necessarily the way that I would thought. And for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, an anime or there's a program called Naruto, and then there's Naruto Shippuden and Boruto. I have not seen Naruto Shippuden. I have not seen Boruto. I only have so much time on account of all the things that I have to do, because being a bum is a full-time occupation. You know how much time it takes to do nothing all the time? How much work? So, I am... I'm trying to keep this natural, so I have not thought about what jutsu I would put in. Cause see, what just happened, I was sitting here, and and this is why I might take it out, because I don't know, I want to be polite, I want to be respectful, but there's so many things that I don't know. I'm trying to take into consideration every person's feelings. I'm trying to take into consideration 7 billion perspectives, so that so that the things which I create and contribute to are of utmost benefit to all 7 billion inhabitants of the earth. Um, so, a priest just came by and gave me $10 and a bag. I haven't looked in the bags, so it could be anything in the bag. Could be a bomb or something. I don't know, but cause sometimes that's people come to me because they want something diffused. It's one of those things. I watched a lot of that show 24 when I was younger, and so sometimes they get like the vibe. They're like, oh, this guy, and so they. Anyway, so I'm gonna try and think about. So I haven't thought about what jutsu I would want to describe, but let me see. Okay. This jutsu I came up with. Actually, it was inspired by one of the first years. I think the first year that I was homeless. It was like I was in Venice, at Venice Beach, and there's this. It was my first, couple of months being homeless, and I was like, I wasn't like scared, but I'm like, I can't believe like all this is happening. I thought like I was, I thought it was somebody, I thought it was, and oddly enough, the first time when I came to, I transferred to this high school, and my first day of class, this guy, or not this guy, but my teacher, he says to me, you know what you remind me of? You remind me of Marlon Brando in On the Waterfront. When he says, I could have been somebody. I could have been a contender. And that's that's the first thing this guy says to me. And me, like, I'm 16 years old, I don't get it. Like, what do you mean I could have been somebody? I didn't realize that was my, that was my clerical error, transferring schools. So I should have stayed the course. But now I get to be a bum. So, and don't feel like sorry for me, because you gotta realize I mentioned this before, but just because I make a lot of money. Some of you people think that cash is money. You think that dollars is money. You think you got your house, your cars, all these various things. I make money. Anyway, he says this to me, and it stuck with me, because I didn't realize what that meant until later on. Anyway, so I'm in Venice, the first year of my homelessness, homelessness year one, and there's this, and I'm not freaking out, but I'm like, how is that? How do people do this? How somebody gonna just live outside all goddamn day? And I feel like I'm being a ham. I feel like I'm really trying to like make this more than it is. I'm trying to like, eh, I believe in myself. I know what I'm doing. So there's this guy. So I'm freaking out, and there's this guy. I think he's a homeless guy. Yeah, he was a homeless guy, but he's riding by on his skateboard, and he's got it's fucking like freezing cold outside. It's a winter, but he's got no shirt on, and his his muscles are fucking absurd. Cause like I've been like a fat fuck for a long time, so like, but his muscles are just like like brick upon washboard abs, like a 100-pack, And he's just riding by on his skateboard, like not concerned about the weather, not concerned about being homeless, not concerned about anything. And he's either whistling or singing. He's like, "Oh, the weather outside is frightful." Like he's just like, it doesn't matter, dude. You just fucking hang out. And so I was inspired by that. So I was almost intimidated, just slightly. Just like a little intimidated, like how could he be so comfortable under such overt duress? The duress and stress of not having your basic needs and supplies met. And so this jutsu, I call it the weather outside is frightful no jutsu. And you use this when you want to intimidate when you want to intimidate someone with how strong you are. You don't want to make them fearful. You don't want to make them like cower with their tail in between their legs. It's just you want to show them how strong you are and what your muscles are. So if you're up against any type of situation where you feel like maybe you're not as tough as you ought to be, or as tough as you think you ought to be, and obviously I can't develop this for you. You have to develop the jutsu if you want to. And it's called the weather outside is frightful no jutsu. And I hope that I can that my description of this, my perception of this guy who was just so insulated from all the terrors of the world, I hope that that can go into this. And when you're up against something and you don't necessarily want to fight someone, but you don't want to be like a wimp, and you want to be a contender. And and I think this is nice. I think I've never used this jutsu because I would avoid one of my primary programs is to avoid all fights at all times. Whenever there's a fight or a confrontation, especially if it is needless, I avoid it, displace it, go over it, around it, under it and through it. Not for you. Not doing it for you. Alright, I'm going to keep this one short because, it's Christmas Eve. I got things to do. I got $10 from a priest, so I'm going to go spend that wisely. And, Merry Christmas to everyone. And while you were thinking about others, and while you were thinking about, me, make sure you go out, or go in, or go somewhere, and do something that is of overt, direct, real, and lasting personal benefit to me personally. Josh Hunter. Benefit to me. Thanks a lot.